Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with some more updates coming out from the Middle East, and we're going to be talking more about Iran's upcoming attack onto Israel once again. As I reported to you guys yesterday, that yes, Iran is going to carry out yet again another retaliatory strike onto Israel, and we're hearing this is probably going to be one of the biggest attacks on Israel to date. We have been hearing upwards of 1,000 or more ballistic missiles could be fired onto Israel and could have devastating impacts if this attack is carried out. And we have been hearing that it could come even before the November 5th elections coming up very soon in just about 5 days. So I want to talk more about this today, as yesterday, many of us were heading out to enjoy our Halloween evenings and do a little bit of trick-or-treating or maybe some partying. We had this huge story came out last night that Iran is going to launch a major attack from Iraq, and apparently Israel's strike caused major damage inside of Iran recently, and it looks like the Iranians are not able to hide the fact of how big this attack really was, and they have to respond to this. So it looks like we are going to see a major response coming from Iran very soon. And if you notice, this attack is not coming directly from the country of Iran, it will happen from Iraq, most likely trying to de-escalate the situation afterwards and put the blame on Iranian-backed militias in Iraq and not necessarily Iran or the IRGC themselves. So that's most likely why they're going to do this, and we're hearing they're going to use a large number of drones and ballistic missiles that will be fired. Okay, so it looks like we're going to have a major war potentially breaking out over here in the Middle East, as the U.S. has already warned Iran not to do this. Also, Israel warning Iran as well not to carry out this strike, or they will target certain sectors of Iran's infrastructure that they did not strike previously, just recently in their attack onto Iran. So we're going to talk more about this. I've got a couple reports we're going to go over on mainstream news, just a few paragraphs from each one. Then I have some things on X I want to show you as well, showing the preparations for this attack coming onto Israel. Okay, so let's hop on over here to Reuters just for a minute. We got a couple paragraphs here from this report. Iran preparing strike on Israel from Iraqi territory within days, Axios reports. Okay, again, this came out yesterday, October 31st, 2024. It says right here, Israeli intelligence suggests Iran is preparing to attack Israel from Iraqi territory in the coming days, possibly before the U.S. presidential election on November 5th, Axios reported on Thursday, citing two unidentified Israeli sources. The attack is expected to be carried out from Iraq using a large number of drones and ballistic missiles, the Axios report added. The report said that carrying out the attack through pro-Iranian militias in Iraq could be an attempt by Tehran to avoid another Israeli attack against strategic targets in Iran. Well, I don't know if this is completely going to, persuade Israel not to carry out this strike on Iran. In my opinion, I think Israel will retaliate on Iran again, even if this attack does come from Iraq. I think it's very possible, as obviously Iran is planning this attack right now, and they could be transferring probably hundreds, if not thousands, of ballistic missiles on over to Iraq right now. I actually have reports to show you guys that yesterday there was some movement of ballistic missiles inside of Iran yesterday. Okay, so most likely that's them transferring them over to Iraq. Okay, also I have this report from the Times of Israel. Khamenei said to order retaliatory attack against Israel after realizing damage from IDF strike too large to ignore. Okay, this came out yesterday as well, October 31st, 2024. It says here, the New York Times cites three Iranian officials who say that Ayatollah Ali Khamenei instructed the Supreme National Security Council on Monday to prepare for attacking Israel after reviewing the damage caused by Israel's retaliatory strike earlier this month and determining that it was too major to ignore. So that is Iran right there, directly admitting that this strike was much worse than what was initially reported, okay? The first 24 to 48 hours, what we heard from Iran after this strike was carried out, just about, a week ago or so, was that basically this attack was nonsense. So there really wasn't a whole lot of damage. The damage was very limited. Now we're starting to hear more and more reports coming out over the last few days that this strike was apparently very significant. Lots of major targets, military targets, missile production factories. I think we even had a drone factory that was struck as well inside of Iran. apparently this attack was much worse than what's being reported. Okay, so the officials say that military commanders are preparing a list of dozens of potential military targets in Israel. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty heavy attack, guys. Dozens of potential military targets. Also, it says the retaliatory attack is unlikely to take place before the U.S. presidential election, as Tehran fears another spike in regional tensions could benefit Republican nominee Donald Trump, the officials tell New York Times. So this is going to be very interesting. Are they going to attack before the elections? Are they going to attack after? Does it really matter whether they do it before the elections or not? Maybe, maybe not. But definitely we are going to see a response coming soon. I think it could be potentially as soon as this weekend. It's currently Friday, November 1st. And maybe we could see an attack possibly tonight or maybe tomorrow. But I think it's probably going to take some time, probably after the elections. If they're planning to move thousands of ballistic missiles over to Iran to carry out this attack, plus potentially hundreds or thousands of drones, I think most likely this could be taking weeks before that would happen, considering how much military equipment they're going to have to transfer, okay? So I wouldn't expect it to come this weekend. So now we're going to move on to X here. I've got a few posts to share with you from Ozone Defender. An Israeli military source has told CNN that Israel is at a high level of readiness for a response from Iran. Okay, so looks like Israel is ready to go and prepared to defend themselves from potentially thousands of ballistic missiles and drones being fired. We're expecting a major attack when this thing takes place. Also from Mossad commentary, U.S. to Iran, if you attack Israel in the coming days, we will see it as interference in the U.S. elections. Very interesting that the U.S. is coming out and saying that. Obviously, if this major attack happens, imagine what could happen, okay? We could definitely see the U.S. maybe getting involved. What if U.S. bases come under attack? Who knows if Iran will do that? They did warn recently that the U.S. was involved in these strikes, so kind of putting the blame on the U.S. as well, giving the right in a way for Iran to potentially carry out strikes onto U.S. troops in the Middle East. So we could definitely see a major war break out over here, not only with Israel, but even the United States, which is what a lot of people have been worried about. Maybe that's what they mean by election interference here. Is potentially, could we even see a halt to U.S. elections if a major war breaks out in the Middle East? I think it could be very possible. Hopefully that would not be the case, though. Okay, also from Sprinter Family, Iranian Revolutionary Guards, our response this time will exceed all expectations. Okay, so the RGC coming out and saying that it's going to be a very, very massive attack onto Israel and will exceed all expectations. So expect something very big coming when it does happen. Ozone Defender reports, during a speech recently by Major General Hossein Salami, the Commander-in-Chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC, to Iranian military and political leaders, he stated, Iran will deliver an unimaginable response to Israel. Israelis think they can alter history by launching a few missiles, but they have not forgotten the October 1st missile attack. They made a mistake and they will face the response. So that's directly from their commander-in-chief from the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, also known as the RGC, directly from Iran, okay, that they will carry out this response and attack onto Israel. So it is coming at some point. Also from open source intel, breaking, IDF confirms Iran's air defenses have been put out and allows Israel free range over Iran. The Israeli military has announced the creation of new units within its intelligence directorate and air force aimed at facilitating repetitive actions in Iran. A dedicated Iran department has been set up in the Intelligence Directorate's Research Division, along with a depth unit in the Air Force's Intelligence Department. Additionally, the military reports that the Air Force conducted extensive training exercises in preparation for last weekend's long-range strikes. More than 100 IAF aircraft participated in the strikes early Saturday, targeting Iran's strategic long-range air defense systems and impacting its ballistic missile production capabilities. According to the military, the destruction of Iran's air defenses has granted freedom of aerial action for future operations, while the strikes on missile production sites have eliminated an immediate and future threat to the state of Israel. Okay, so we've heard this information before, but I wanted to show you this as obviously we are hearing multiple reports coming out that Iran's air defenses have, for the most part, been wiped out. So if Israel wants to go carry out more attacks onto Iran, would they be able to fly their warplanes directly over the country of Iran, potentially? Because we heard a lot of these attacks actually came from Iraq. These missiles were fired not even from inside the border of Iran, they were fired outside of Iran, and targeting inside of their country. So potentially we could be seeing lots of airstrikes inside of Iran very soon. And also, more information showing that their ballistic missile production capabilities were wiped out for the most part as well, which will make it very difficult for them to produce more ballistic missiles to target Israel in the future. Okay, also now a couple more reports here from Eli Afriat. Breaking news, transportation of ballistic missiles has begun in Iran. Okay, this came out just yesterday, October 31st, 2024. I saw multiple reports of this popping up all over X, that they were moving ballistic missiles inside the country of Iran. Here's another report of the same thing, okay, from Mossad commentary, movement of ballistic missiles in Iran. Okay, so they were definitely transferring some ballistic missiles around their country. We have not seen any kind of an attack yet. I think, again, if they are going to transfer these over to Iraq, I would think this is going to take weeks, maybe even months. If they really want to plan out a very successful strike against Israel, it's probably going to take some time for them to transfer all these ballistic missiles over to Iraq. Now, if they choose not to do that and they just launch this strike from their own territory, maybe it could come very, very soon. Maybe this weekend. We'll have to see. But definitely getting very interesting over here in the Middle East, and very dangerous at the same time. And hopefully we do not have a major war breaking out over here even before the elections in the United States. I think this would be very devastating to the world, and potentially to even economies around the world if this happens to take place. Iran has already come out and threatened to close down the Strait of Hormuz, which is a major shipping hub for oil around the world. Okay, lots of oil comes out from that area, from like Karg Island in Iran. And if that area were to be shut down, that could definitely cause some major economic ramifications around the world, and we could have big problems. So hopefully we don't have a major war breaking out over here. If we do, expect oil to skyrocket through the ceiling, and things are definitely going to get out of control, and we may even see multiple other wars break out at the same time. So just be prepared for anything. I highly recommend have your basic necessities ready. Definitely try to have some extra water and food on hand for sure if you can, and some protection just in case things get out of control. Hopefully that's not the case. We'll have to see what happens, but just wanted to give you a quick warning there, and hope you guys all enjoy your Friday today. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you got something out of this update, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.